everybody, and welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
And I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell, and today we're going to be reviewing the new DC film, Black Adam.
All right, so we are going to be talking about Black Adam, which just came out this past weekend. TJ and I both got a chance to go and see it together, in fact, and we're going to give our thoughts on it. If we're just diving right into, do like a little non-spoiler first?
Yeah.
All right. Non-spoiler thoughts. I do have my, I did like a media reaction like the night of is up on the channel. It's like a minute long. And I'm happy to report that nothing has really changed negative since then. I still really, really enjoyed this movie. If anything, I definitely want to see it again, first off. And secondly, the more I think about it, I think maybe the more I like it. But then again, I think I do have to see it again because there are some issues that I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later on. But yeah, I guess to sum it up just with non-spoiler, Pierce Brosnan's fantastic. Aldous Hodge, Dwayne Johnson, to me, to give you guys my honest opinion, I've seen a lot of people out there, tooting the whole Dwayne Johnson is just playing, The Rock, like he just plays in every movie. And I just watched San Andreas earlier today, and like that's a movie where he is firmly playing The Rock. Like he is just like brick of a man inserted into story. This to me, I do feel like I felt a character come through the movie. And I've seen that criticism a lot. And obviously, if you feel that way, you feel that way. For me, though, I feel like anytime I talk to somebody, that seems to be the biggest differentiator. Is I'm a Dwayne Johnson fan. I don't have any. I really enjoy him, but I can't admit that most of his stuff. It is just kind of one note, but charismatic, but still one note. And this to me really did feel like a person. And I feel like that's kind of the biggest differentiator when I talk to different people that have seen it and stuff, is that I feel like not a lot of people are coming away with that, but I did. Yeah, I guess that'll do it for my non-spoiler, but there's a lot more that we're going to get into in spoiler, but what did you think of Black Adam?
I think my thoughts coming out of the movie, I'd say I'm pretty lukewarm on it. I enjoyed myself at parts. Other parts I felt like they kind of overdid it. With just things that they were doing on screen. I liked the heroes I met. I liked Hawkman. I liked Atom Smasher. I liked Cyclone. And I thought I thought they had a good story at first and then kind of went away from it. I think everybody unanimously agreed that the villain was pretty bad. Which I think that's maybe if we agree on one thing, it'll be that.
I don't know.
No, maybe not.
Talk about it in spoilers.
And I thought, Dwayne Johnson did a good job. It wasn't, again, not my favorite character in the world. I'm still a little confused on where we are with Black Adam at the end, because I felt like the end credit scene kind of negated everything else.
Well, the last shot of the movie tells you everything you need to know.
Right. And I was just a little confused. I was like, well, we just went through this whole thing, and like, so is he this or that? But yeah, overall, I'd say I'd say it's fine for me. I didn't jump out of my seat. I probably won't watch it again if it comes to when it comes to HBO at some point. Maybe I'll watch it, but I'm not rushing back to see it. And I don't feel as though the hierarchy of power in the DCEU has changed.
That might be the one thing we can agree on. That might be the one thing we can agree on. Again, we'll save that for some spoiler talk. But yeah, this is crazy. I feel like we've got a pretty split on this one, which does not normally happen. So I'm excited to dig into this movie a little bit. But to close out this kind of non-spoiler section, what would you say you would give Black Adam out of 5?
So I was originally at a 2, but I think I just talked myself up to a 2.5. So I think I'm going to do a 2.5 out of 5. Yeah.
And for you, I'll be honest, I think that's pretty fair. I would say that's
Yeah.
like a TJ like borderline fresh, because if you
Yeah.
like really, I feel like if you like really like something, you're in like the 3 to 3.5 to 4 range. So like a 2.5 I think is pretty good. So I'll
Yeah.
take that as a victory for the movie. And then I am going not much higher. I mean, well, I guess out of 5 it's a little higher, but I'm going 3.5 out of 5 for me. This is a movie that for me I think I will be going out to see again in theaters for sure. And I probably will be checking it out once it's on HBO Max. I don't know why. I don't know if it was just the mood I was in or what, but this movie just like struck a if this is going to be my 2016 Suicide Squad, guilty pleasure, so be it. But I
Yeah.
do think I would say as categorically as you can get, I think this is a little bit better of a movie than that movie. But yes, so that'll do it for our non-spoiler section. All right, so now let's go ahead and get into the spoilers of this movie. So from here on out, guys, we are going to be discussing spoilers for Black Adam. So if you haven't checked it out yet and you've gotten this far in the video, just turn it off. Come back to us after you have seen it. What do you want to dive into? You want to get negatives or positives, or I guess just talk about things? Because we'll fall on different sides.
We could talk about things. What I mentioned earlier before we started recording, that thing that I said that I need to complain about, that I feel like I haven't seen anybody complain about. Maybe I'm very in the minority here. I do not like when you have a hero or whatever who can fly, but when they move around, they are just standing basically straight. So it doesn't happen much in the middle or end of the movie, but in the beginning, when we first see Black Adam, he levitates and then he moves like we're dragging a picture around a screen, if you know what I mean.
There is on that exact thing. I didn't have as much of a problem with it, but I did notice it. But the one that I did have a problem, and this might be specifically what you're talking about, in the slow-mo painted black scene, there is a shot where he
hated that scene.
He literally goes like not, and you can do that, you can do that, but it's like they forgot the particle effects or something.
Yeah. Well, you have to make them be doing something in order, like I know people would be like, oh well, like for example, Iron Man does that. Yeah, but Iron Man is like clearly like he's doing it, like he has his hands pointed down, like he's moving around, he's unbalanced and everything. I mean, this just looks like they're just dragging Dwayne Johnson to me around the screen, and I'm like,
I will say too, although then again, I think I just disproved myself. I was going to say, well, to be devil's advocate, I do think there is a big difference between how he visually looked on screen when he had no cape versus the end of the movie when he gets the new suit. I think that suit just flowed better, because I'm thinking in my head of not somebody like an Iron Man, but somebody like a Superman who does just float there sometimes, and he's always got that cape. Like I'm thinking about him outside.
I think the cape.
I'm thinking about him outside the Capitol building in BVS, and as he's like lowering down, and it would just look like a person like floating down, but I think the cape does wonders for it. But then again, what we just said in the painted black sequence, he does have a cape on. Yeah. So that I might have negated my own point there, but
some of those also, again, just moving on from that, the painted black scene I didn't like all the slow motion. We got a lot of slow mo in this movie, and I get, like, for Cyclone example, we're we want to see what she's doing. I get it, but you don't have to do it every single time. Yeah. Like, you showed me the one cool part where she's like throwing the rods or whatever. Yeah. I think it's Black Adam. And it's like, okay, cool there, but like every time she does it, it doesn't need to be slowed down. I liked I did like all the characters. Dr. Fate, personally, I really like Dr. Fate. I like Pierce Brosnan, but I really liked his portrayal of the character. I would love to see a movie about him. I don't think that'll happen, but I'd love to see that.
Just a movie about Pierce Brosnan or about Dr. Fate? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Either one.
It's something that does bother me. Was Cyclone and Atom Smashers, it seemed like they were trying to set some sort
Yeah,
of
there's
relationship up,
a
and
little flavor of it.
They were like, oh, here's them getting along because they're both kids in this random situation that they were pulled into. And we get that one scene with them kind of going back and forth, like talking kind of closely, and then we don't really get anything else after that. We get them joking like from time to time, but that's about it. So I would have liked a little bit more from that.
Save it for the sequel.
One more thing on that, I'll turn it over to you. That kid didn't bother me. I feel like a lot of people are shitting. I feel like I've seen some people shitting on that kid. Yeah, I thought he was fine.
Oh,
no.
Okay, well let's go for it then, okay. Because for me and I want to tone it down for a second, my thing, because I don't want this to be a Jake Lloyd situation, which I feel like you just said, I think a lot of people are going that far with it, of like, oh my god, like what it, like really going crazy about it. I just really thought there was some big lines that he has towards the end of the movie that I just think I just felt like it was a kid at Tops, yelling on a street corner or something. I didn't really feel any connection to the character, although I will say I agree with you. I don't think he annoyed me. I don't think that the character annoyed me, and that's Amon Tomas, the kid, and then Adriana Tomas, of course, is his mother. That whole side plot, which I feel like could very easily get, like, Pepper Potts in, like, Iron Man 2, or the first Iron Man, really, I don't think it did. I think that it very effectively, had it in there to keep the MCU connection. I would say Adriana Tomas, to me, worked to the level of, like, a Hope Van Dyne in the first Ant-Man, where it's like she is kind of not necessarily another perspective character, but if there was a second, main character to that movie, it's her. So I really liked her as kind of the co-lead or second lead in this movie. And I feel like the whole kind of found family thing can really devolve into just, cliche and stuff. That didn't bother me. I really think it was just, unfortunately, the performance of that kid did throw me off. But you did mention Pierce Brosnan, and we've talked a little bit about Hawkman, a little bit about Cyclone and Atom Smasher. The Justice Society of America, for me, because a lot of people have said some complaints of this movie is it that thing of two movies kind of crammed into one? With, I think Dan Murrow called it overstuffed, which I can see that. It worked for me. I like I love a overstuffed Oreo just as much as somebody else. But let's talk a little bit about the JSA. So how did you kind of feel about them in the movie and kind of the space they acquired in the DCEU, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the JSA in general. Something that I don't like personally about that kind of group is that it was just Hawkman and Dr. Fate, and then they just like Cyclone and Adams. Oh, let's call them. It's like, why didn't we just make it where they're already a part of the team, but they're just they've been here. They've only been a part of the team for a few months. Like, why does it have to be they're brand new? It just makes the Justice Society seem so much smaller and just not as a factor in this world, if you know what I mean. It's just like, and again, we don't have any connection to them already. So it's like we're just supposed to believe that Hawkman and Dr. Fate have this relationship. They used to be part of the society, and now it's not a thing. But now, it's like one more mission, type thing. So I didn't really like that. But again, I'd say I liked the characters that were a part of it. And I'm interested to see more. If they do something with them. I don't know what they're gonna do. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I would say. It was
to bounce off of what you just said. With that, I honestly don't know what to tell you. I felt almost the exact opposite with it. But I will say I felt the exact opposite. But absolutely, I mean, the Justice Society has never been mentioned. These characters have never been mentioned. Nothing has ever been mentioned about any of this prior to the moment they come on screen in this movie. So I see that. I give you that. That is 100% true. To me, things like buying the relationship between Dr. Fate and Hawkman, that they have worked together for decades, were on the old team, did all that stuff. I think that I bought that just because that's where maybe a script that is a little bit, not all the way there, or at least not great dialogue or something, could really be elevated by great performers. And I think Aldous Hodge and Pierce Brosnan did that for me. I thought that some of the best scenes in the entire movie were the ones that were just kind of the two of them together, which there was like 2 or 3 of them where they kind of, you could, to me at least, I felt the kind of years of connection between them. I don't know if that's just because I just really bought into this movie fast or what, because, I'm sure that colored my view of it. But, yeah, I really liked them. And then in terms of Atom Smasher and them being new, I 100% agree with you that, like, we have to do the, newbies on the team cliche type thing. But what I did like, at least, was, like what you were saying with the actual setup of the team. What I got the impression of is that the JSA kind of, and some of this is headcanoning to make it make sense too, but what I got kind of from the movie is that the JSA used to be a team of superheroes, and now I think it's more of a pool of superheroes that Hawkman kind of gets an assignment from Amanda Waller, who we'll talk about as well. Yeah. And then it's up to Hawkman to build the team for that specific mission.
Fair enough, yeah.
Because he does say, he's like, if Black Adam, if this is all about, ancient magic, there's no one better. And then, he kind of gives, and I will say, it's not like it's this amazing explanation.
It's just like you're saying, like, Dr. Fate makes sense, but then it's like, well, what do Atom Smasher and Cyclone provide? Mm-hmm. If it's a Black Adam, like Dr. Fate again makes sense. Dark magic, history and stuff like that. But other than that, it's like okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, go.
Something I do wish, just real quick, and I wish we got more of, and it wasn't really. And I think maybe we'll start talking about the villains, the villains of the movie as well. Mm-hmm. Here in a second. I wish they had done more with the rock. What was it called again?
Eternium?
Eternium, which not a terrible name. Better than unobtainium.
100%. Yeah.
But I wish we would have gotten more on that. Like we see the what are they called? What are like the what is that group called? That's like, oh, they've taken over.
Intergang?
Intergang, which I didn't know that was. I thought that was just made up. I didn't know that was actual comic. Like,
I didn't know that either. That's like newer.
I was like, that name's awful. Like, stop calling them Intergang.
No, I agree 100%. And then I saw a video about it, and I was like, oh my god, they're like space Vikings, but like, pirates at the same time. Right. I don't know.
But like, there's some of those guys that are like riding on those speeders powered by that rock. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what? So you can like you just put it in stuff and it just like does that? Like, but we have not established this at all. Like,
I do feel like this movie, and again, this movie worked for me, but I can see criticisms with it, and I guess I do have criticisms in the fact that what I'm about to say, I guess you could consider it a criticism, but not really. I do think that this movie, they were just like, you know what? There's going to be a lot of stuff in this movie, and the people that are going to see this movie have watched all the Marvel movies, so we'll just borrow some of their suspension of disbelief that has been banked up. And I think they literally went, well, we're saying that it's this ancient rock that people found long ago, and it does all this stuff, and it helps you, build all this stuff. It's basically vibranium. They're going to know, I think that this movie was just kind of like, put it in tech and stuff, and people will just be like, it's kind of like vibranium. Like, I think that, same with JSA. I think very much if the X-Men didn't.
Right. That is probably what they thought. It's like, oh, well, they've seen this type of rock in other movies, so they'll just get it. And to me, that says, like, it's just, I feel, again, you're trying to build a world. You're trying to set all this stuff up. Like, just show, like, like Intergang, like, oh yeah, like we can use like show them like taking the weapons, like oh yeah, we can like Adrian Toombs in the warehouse, like building all this stuff.
That's an even better analogy. Yeah.
Just 100%. Like, just like show me that. Don't just like put it on screen and then just expect me to be like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because you've just established that it's used to make this crown. And that's it. And it summons the demon world or whatever it does. How about that? Put that when they go to the tomb, and it's like the three of them, or it's like the two guys and what's her name?
Adriana.
Yeah, and they're walking through and she turns around. She goes, "Oh, where's so and so?" And I think the guy says, "Oh,
where's
he
Ishmael?
has claustrophobia or something like that."
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. I'm like, that was immediately when I was like, "Oh, this is a rough script. I don't know about that line. Maybe we could have come up with something a little bit better." But yeah, what was your thoughts on the villains? I guess Intergang and then Ishmael as well.
I think it was very weak in terms of the Ishmael thing. I do think that things that worked for me. I do think that initial fake out got me, because by the time they're even going into the tomb, I was like, oh, this Ishmael guy is definitely going to betray them. Like, he's asking her, he's like, do you know how much that would go on the black market? You know how rare that is, or what, So I was like, oh, this guy's definitely going to fake him out. But then he gets punched, and I was like, man, all right, well, even if he was a boss and was like doing a fake capture thing, he wouldn't let somebody do that to him. And then they call that out when the twist is that he betrayed them. He was like, I said make it real, not, hit me in the face or whatever. So I liked like a little thing like that, but the actual purpose of him in the movie, I think the whole thing with the Crown of Sabak, very much just a MacGuffin to have things happen. I think the much more interesting angle on this movie than all that stuff was the whole message of, okay, now the Justice Society is coming to this country when they deem this person. Yeah, but where have you been when we've been subjugated?
Yeah.
I loved that scene. I thought that scene was well written.
Yep.
And I was like, that's the most convincing argument to be the problem in this movie. I think if they went a little more Winter Soldier-y with the story on it, I think that would make a great movie as well.
It's very much United States coming to country to use democracy, like do all this stuff. And it's like, we're forcing this way of government upon you because you can't seem to handle it yourself, even if you have this other thing that you're trying to work through something, and I thought that was great. That was something that I really wanted them to look towards and move and play with, and they just kind of they don't really do much with it.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about, literally as you're talking, I was sitting here like thinking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, because I say to myself, I'm like, if you had a movie, or I was like, this movie won't get into that kind of thing because it's a DC movie. And what I mean is, obviously a DC movie will do darker things and stuff, but I feel like DC so far has been kind of big action movies with then kind of like a message in it. You know what I mean? Right. That kind of thing. Whereas Marvel is so big and so wide that they can focus on things like that. They can do a Falcon and Winter Soldier where really at the end of the day, the conflict was, we are people just trying to survive and the government is trying to step on us type of thing. And that was in a huge Marvel property, obviously, was Falcon and Winter Soldier. I hope in the future, I should say, that DC doesn't just do a super dramatic movie like Joker to go for the Oscar, but I would love to see, like, what is a person like Rhodey in the DC universe? You know what I mean? Like, do I want a court show with Amanda Waller or something? Or I just wish we could see kind of more of not a day-to-day, but somebody like Rhodey or Sam Wilson or something. Characters like that. And I get that DC is kind of a little more gods and magic, it's a bigger part of it. There's not as many like shield and sword and all that stuff in the DC universe. But But I feel like that was kind of missing from this movie, like because it was so much just boom, boom, like these like like superheroes that a lot of us have never even seen on the screen before. Well, none of us have seen on the big screen before, with like Dr. Fate and Hawkman and Black Adam and Cyclone and Atom Smasher. I felt like it was just kind of, that's kind of the overstuffed of it that I will, agree with, is I do feel like they were just kind of throwing stuff at us at times. But like I said, I kind of ended up liking the stuff that they were throwing at us. I just think that the movie did feel overstuffed, and especially with that Ishmael villain thing, to go back to the villains. But, and then just Sabak in general, I thought that the character design, and I thought that his powers, to me, were what I liked best about him. Because I was like, thank God, I get the whole thing. They're doing what if Shazam or Black Adam, but instead of gods, it was demons or devils that made this champion. I liked that they were like, this is the inverse of, what happens to Billy Batson. I liked that. So I was worried that he was just going to come up with a red suit on and a black lightning bolt and just have lightning powers and stuff.
Yeah.
And, not literally, but I was very worried that it was just going to be very Obadiah Stane or, the classic same technology as the heroes, same powers, whatever. So I liked when he started, like, doing, like, breathing fire and, like, doing the energy blasts and stuff. Yeah. I was like, thank God he has, like, some elemental power that no one else in the movie has so far, which I really just found that refreshing to watch, because I was like, damn, he's, like, trying to, cook Hawkman alive, but then Dr. Fate, like, encases him in that like spiky whatever that, like, catches people, like, mid-walk or whatever. I loved Dr. Fate. All the CGI on Dr. Fate was great. Beautiful. Yeah. I think that Hawkman's suit, they did what Thor never could. I don't know if it's just Aldous Hodge's face is better for helmets, but that helmet, to me, yes, it looked goofy, but they just kind of went with it.
Goofy.
I will say that, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that it was both of them that they just went for it, and I think mostly it did work. And also Atom Smasher, I know a lot of people were saying, like, oh, they just stole the Deadpool suit and painted it blue. Yeah, it kind of looks like Deadpool, but when it's that big on there, you see all the little details. I thought was fantastic. I love that the original Atom Smasher was Gene Cousineau, Henry Winkler showing up for a cameo in this movie.
What was that? That was the most random, like, oh, here's Henry Winkler and takes on and Barry. Let's just throw him in there. Like, what?
Literally, yeah. That had to have been like a favor called in or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was just weird. I was like, what? I guess Henry Winkler was Atom Smasher.
I guess that's what it implies.
Okay,
yeah. I saw one like Easter egg video that said, I think the director or something confirmed that, the implication is that Henry Winkler used to be on the JSA. And I was like, I didn't get that from the movie, but okay.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I think so. Just, moving on to maybe our next and last thing discussing. One of my things from the end of the movie, into the post-credit scene, which if you haven't seen the post-credit scene, you shouldn't be watching this review. But obviously, it was leaked as well on TikTok or whatever. Henry Cavill back as Superman. Put out a little Instagram video today.
I saw that.
Confirming
he was so happy in that video.
I mean, it was confirmed in the movie, but putting out another thing. So my main thing at the end of this movie is Black Adam. What is he? Is he a villain? Is he a hero? I'm just confused.
Give me what you think, and then I'll give you what I think. Because maybe how we liked the movie maybe colored our ideas with that part. So what do you think?
I feel like at the end of the movie, I feel like he's a hero, but then at the end of the end credit scene, I was like, well, why do we have Superman? Like, why are we so hell bent on keeping him in this place if he's not a villain? You know what I mean? Like, why are we sending Superman to talk to him if he's not a villain? Why do we have Amanda Waller saying, you better stay there or I'm sending everybody after you?
Yeah.
If he's not a villain. Like, that's what I'm confused about. If he's a savior, then he's not a villain.
Yes, you know? I agree 100%. Basically, I think at the end of the movie, Black Adam is a hero and a savior and everything to the people of Kahndaq, which, if we haven't said before, is where this movie takes place. So I think he is kind of like their protector type thing. Definitely, at least firmly, I would say a hero. I've seen people say, "Well, no, he's an anti-hero at the end of the movie." He killed less people. He killed
less people
divided by a million people than Superman did in his first solo movie. So, you know, I think we can kind of set that aside. But I will say I think that is a failing of the DC universe, just kind of rushing over to a you know, this is our phase 3 where people are just going to pop up and you're going to just understand that there are super people in the world and we're just going to introduce them to you and there you go. But I feel like where you kind of, what you lose in that disconnect is stuff like that. That's like, well, but yeah, Superman didn't want to kill people, but he still did. Black Adam, sure, yeah, he said he wants to kill people, but he only killed bad people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but you know, like, what is the difference there? I totally agree with you on that. And then I think I did see somebody say, like, and then if Hawkman is so, you know, Captain America, truth, justice, and the American way about being a hero and not killing and all this stuff, which I loved that dynamic in the movie.
Due process.
Yes, exactly. I really did love the Black Adam Hawkman dynamic as well. I thought they were great. And that fight where they're fighting and Dr. Fate just keeps teleporting out of the way of their fight. That was a great scene. I loved that. Great, he was just like sipping his tea. Like that was fantastic. And I think the idea is that Amanda Waller runs this stuff because she is kind of starting to be positioned as the kind of Nick Fury, whereas, you know, in Suicide Squad, basically, which one of the best things about that movie, one of the redeeming things is that post-credit scene, which is Amanda Waller and Bruce Wayne, and very firmly, it's kind of sounds like, you know, they kind of go, hey, you stay out of my way, I'll stay out of your way. So I'm guessing that the JSA is basically the government superheroes, the Black Ops superheroes, and then I think that the JSA is the Black Ops superhero government team. Then I think Task Force X, the Suicide Squad, is the Black Ops team, you know, behind another wall. And then the Justice League, I think, are just kind of Tony Stark's private, you know, Avengers company as Bruce Wayne's, you know, he owns that. He runs the Justice League type of thing. So I think that that's probably why and also Amanda Waller says things like, I'll have to call in a big favor because, you know, there's people that I know that aren't on this planet. And so I think the implication is basically that everybody's just kind of doing what they're doing because they have to. I don't think that Hawkman actually does agree with Amanda Waller. Maybe Hawkman doesn't even know what she's done or the things that she does or stuff like that. But yeah, that's kind of what I think. And then I think at the end of the movie, the post-credit scene-wise, I think that he definitely got much darker. And I want to say maybe he's just pissed that she thinks that she could kind of imprison him in his country type of thing. But yeah, what did you? I don't know. that's kind of what I thought. But I will say, it didn't really match up for me either.
Yeah, I just don't know exactly what he is, and you know, we have like what, assuming that him and maybe you know and Superman face off, obviously, or you know we were all kind of assuming that he would face off against Shazam, and maybe maybe that's like the post credit for Shazam 2. And for that, I just go, well, what could they possibly be fighting about? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, what is Shazam going to come over to Kahndaq and be like, hey, you better leave this city you saved. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
What's the deal going to be? Something that just popped in my head that is the last thing I'll say. Something that bothered me is when Hawkman and Dr. Fate are facing off against Double Guy in that initial part where they just can't really beat him in that little initial thing. They're not in the throne, but like marching to the throne.
Mm-hmm.
I think at one point Hawkman says, "Oh, we can't beat him." It's like, you just spent an hour and a half getting your ass beat by Black Adam, and then this guy tosses you guys to the side, and you're like, "Oh, we can't beat him." It's like, what?
You think?
Yeah, it's like, can you get beat up a little bit? Like, I need you to be like on the ground, like, oh my God, like Black Adam, we need him. Not like I get thrown away and go, "Oh, we can't beat him." Need Black Adam. It's like, I need more. Like, in my opinion, Black Adam way stronger than this guy. So you should probably be able to maybe handle a little bit better. But that's just me. That was
How about the actual kill on Sabak?
That was cool.
The sky goes like black and he just like rips him in half. I was like, woo!
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh my gosh. Cool. That was a little insane. But again, I think just to end it off, I can see a lot of criticisms with this movie. Again, I don't think it's a perfect movie. I gave it 3.5 out of 5.
Right.
So for me, I think what it is just, I think I have criticisms of this movie, but nothing story-wise or plot-wise did I not like. I think that's really what it comes down to is, yes, is there sometimes too much slow-mo? Sure. It's stuff like that I have issue with on this movie that lowers it for me. Like, I can admit, to me, it's not a B movie, but, you can think of it like that, that, it's more of a, fun popcorn action movie. And I think that it kind of elevated what it was in that sense. So I really, really liked it, but that'll do it for me. I'll have TJ give you his final thoughts here, but I will say I have been one of your hosts, Sean Monk, and if you could, go ahead and follow us at The Official PFN over on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, where we are posting news, polls, and everything. And we do now have the channel community tab, so you can go over there. We're going to be posting some stuff, trying out different features to hopefully get you guys to interact more and have us interact with you more. So that'll do it for me.
Again, I thought it was, I was pretty lukewarm on the movie as a whole. I thought there were some good moments and then some not great moments. Just at the end, I just don't know where we really stand with this character, and what is coming next for him. I do want to really quick, talk about the quick social media, comments and stuff we got. So Instagram, I put out a poll. Have you seen Black Adam? It was split 50-50. So that I'm not really surprised about. If you're not maybe a DC person, go see it. Depends. Then I put up a TikTok on Black Adam thoughts. I have 3 comments to read. Riplove13 said, excellent movie. Would love to see part 2. Nocturnal Avenue said, not gonna watch it. Okay, that wasn't the question. And just a dude from Texas said, meh. So there's your comments from TikTok.
Wow.
As Sean said, please go follow us on all our social medias. I'm one of your hosts, TJ Cornwell, and we will see you next time.
Boom.